Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Plant-Based 365. I'm Jeff, and this is
Amy.
Amy. So today we're talking about the immune system.
Yes, using foods to boost our immune system.
And
It's
ideally making it so that you're not boosting it, but so that it's always
right.
boosted.
This
Right?
has
Always
been
healthy.
a super hot topic since, especially the last couple of weeks with COVID and how to keep ourselves healthy during these times.
Absolutely.
So we thought this would be a great topic for today, and we're going to do some cooking. Jeff is going to make his Sunday special brunch that is fantastic.
That I literally make every single Sunday.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that. That's a tofu scramble with roasted potatoes and onions and peppers. Fantastic. We couldn't live without it every Sunday.
Yeah.
And then you're going to do what?
I'm making Buddha bowls.
Buddha bowls.
Yes.
What's a Buddha bowl?
A Buddha bowl. Well, let me give you a little sneak peek. This is one I put together ahead of time, and then I'll be assembling some on camera.
That's beautiful. So the immune system.
Yeah.
Your immune system is the defense against all external invaders, right? Whether it's, radiation from the sun, like UV radiation, right? Or whether it's a coronavirus. Your immune system is the thing that is designed to keep you healthy, and it's an amazingly complex thing. But at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to protect you against COVID is a healthy immune system, right? And we're going to talk today about the immune system, and not so much how it works, because I'm not an immunologist. That's a lot of heavy-duty science in terms of how the immune system actually works. But we're going to talk about the things that you need to do to support your immune system. And just want to remind everybody that there's nothing new. There's nothing different, rather. There's nothing different about what you should be doing now because of COVID. This is what you should be doing every single day.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, really quickly, though, I want to talk about, this may seem a little random, but DNA mutations.
Okay.
Okay. So DNA mutations, scientists have shown that there are literally, this number blew me away. There are literally trillions of DNA mutations every single day. Trillions. Okay.
Occurring in our bodies.
Oh, sorry. Yes. In your body, not just somewhere. In your body.
In my body.
In every individual body, there are trillions of these mutations happening every single day. And most of them, your DNA is self-repairing. It's got its own mechanisms for fixing those things. Okay. But every now and then, out of the trillions of mutations every day, there are a few that sneak through and become mutated cells. Cells that, if you're lucky, the mutation just causes the cell to die. If you're unlucky, the mutation causes the cell to become cancerous, right, and start to reproduce, right, as a cancer cell. And, your immune system is it's one of its jobs is to go after all those DNA mutations. So, important to understand that your immune system is not just about coronavirus, right? It's also about all these other things that cause DNA mutations, right? So, moving on. So, the top four. You want to take us through the top four things that you should be doing?
Before we go any farther, I just want to make sure that everybody's hearing okay. Are we good? And also, if you guys have any questions or comments or things you want to follow up on from last week, at any time you can
Post on Facebook.
Yeah, post it. And we'll try to get to those throughout the show or at the end. And we switched to this new format, and we're hoping it works a little better and we can be a little bit more interactive. And
Fingers crossed.
Right. So let us know how it's going. All the comments are being monitored and relayed to us today. So hopefully this will be.
By our amazing production team.
Yeah. So hopefully this
Yes.
will be better. Okay. We have an infographic on
The big four.
the big four, and that is sleep, diet,
Or nutrition.
I can't see the graphic.
It literally doesn't mean just eat, right?
Right,
So
okay.
sleep, nutrition,
exercise, and stress. So all of those work together,
De-stress, right?
and
Right.
lack of stress. All of those work together. Did our infographic get up? Okay, awesome.
It's all happening.
So-
We don't even have to worry about
Oh,
that stuff. It just
that
happens because our producer
that is
is
so
on
great.
top of it.
Okay,
What I wanted to talk about was sleep.
I wanted to talk about sleep.
Well, okay, let me talk about my part of sleep first.
Okay.
So sleep study. So there was a sleep study done that literally took rhinovirus. That's one of the viruses that causes the common cold, and literally squirted it up the nose of all the study participants, right? And for me, this study highlighted the myth that I think that a lot of people have about viruses, right? Which is that if you get exposed to it, that you're going to get it,
Right.
right? Because when I first started reading about this study, I thought, well, if somebody squirts coronavirus up your nose, certainly you're going to get it, right? But that's exactly what they did in this study. They squirted rhinovirus up people's noses,
Which is not coronavirus.
which is not coronavirus. It's a different virus, but nevertheless, they put a virus up somebody's nose into their respiratory system, right? And then they had people broken down by group. People getting less than 5 hours of sleep a night, 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night, or 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And what they showed was that anybody getting less than 7 hours of sleep a night got sick, right? And people getting more than 7 hours of sleep a night, while some of them did get sick, they were far less likely to get sick. So, just like keep that and remember that, right? Just because you get exposed to a virus does not mean that you're going to get it if your immune system is healthy.
Right. So there is a fabulous TED Talk on sleep. It's called Sleep is Your Superpower. And the first half of the talk talks about the effect of sleep on the mind. But the second half is about sleep and disease, and it's absolutely fascinating, and it really had a profound effect on me.
You watch this TED Talk, you're never going to want to get out of bed.
Right.
Again, right?
You'll be lights out early.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we're back to nutrition.
So sleep was number one, nutrition's number two.
So nutrition.
Eat the rainbow, right?
Eat the rainbow. Absolutely.
So, I think what we, even though we're going to talk about some discrete foods that do help your immune system, we don't want anybody to get the wrong message, right? Which is that there's some specific superfood that you can eat. It's about eating the rainbow, eating the balanced diet of all the different foods, like the Power Plate that we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Right. So if you guys remember, the Power Plate is grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables.
So eating all of those things every single day, ideally, right? Some of those every single day.
Right.
And, one of the things we've done at our house, which turns out is a lot harder than it sounds, is that Amy has had us try to eat 30 different plants every week and actually keep track of the 30 different plant sources of food that we eat in a given week. And it turns out that's actually not that easy.
Well, it wasn't impossible. I think we did it a few times. And it reminds you to always try different fruits and vegetables instead of gravitating to the same one meal after meal, shopping trip after shopping trip. Try some new fruits, try some new new vegetables and really expand those different food
And
groups.
we're creatures of habit, right? So,
Right.
we all have our 7 to 10 different recipes that we like to do at home, but unless each recipe includes a bunch of different things, you run the risk of not getting, the variety that you
Right.
really need, right? So, which brings us to G-bombs.
Yes.
What are G-bombs?
So G-bombs, this is a term that Dr. Joel Fuhrman came up with, and he says this is a immune boosting foods. So the acronym is G-bombs. Stands for greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, and heck is that?
Oh gosh. Berries and then seeds.
Berries and seeds,
Berries and
yes. Okay, so that's similar in keeping with our power plate that we talk about, drawing from the legumes, the fruits, the vegetables, nuts, and seeds.
Yeah,
So
G-bombs, and the reason Joel Fuhrman talks about G-bombs is because each of those foods has been shown in lab tests, right? We're talking about.
Did we say mushrooms?
We did.
Okay.
We did, yeah. To boost the immune system. Mushrooms are a great example, right? Even your standard button mushroom in studies has been shown to boost the immune response within an hour of eating mushrooms, right? And so there are foods that specifically boost your immune system. There's also foods just, eating the rainbow of vegetables in all different colors that contain lots of different antioxidants, which
and especially
always have
a plant strong diet, that's where you get your fiber. The fiber supports the microbiome, which is responsible for contributes to your overall immunity and immune health as well. Which I did not know, right, until I read some of the stuff that I've read now on the microbiome, because the microbiome has been ignored until recently, right? It wasn't really an area of study until recently, but then your microbiome and your immune system have a very, sympathetic relationship, right? That they support each other. Your microbiome actually creates vitamins. Like they get produced from the trillions of gut bacteria, actually produce some of the vitamins that we need. So Jeff.
So time to get started.
You want to get cooking?
Do some cooking? Okay. So first thing is our tofu scramble. I'm gonna need a cutting board if you could get me a big.
You want to start crumbling that tofu into a bowl, or are you going to put it right in the pan?
I'm gonna either one. This was our tofu. I had it in the tofu press, and you can crumble this with your hand or cut it. And the reason you might want to do one or the other is, number one, it's maybe a little faster to just chop it up. But if you crumble it with your hand, it ends up looking a lot more like eggs, right? So if you chop it up, you end up with these square pieces of tofu, which looks like little round or little cubes. But if you crumble it, then you're going to end up with something that looks pretty much exactly like scrambled eggs when it's all done. So let me just step through all of this. And then we're going to go over to the skillet. Now this is a super easy recipe. Basically, it's tofu, it's a set of spices that I'll talk about in a second, a little bit of oil, a little bit of water in the pan. You're going to cook it for 5 minutes. You basically just need to get it hot and let the tofu absorb the spices. Tofu is a great substance because it does absorb the spices. So there's our crumbled up tofu. Looks a lot like scrambled eggs. And now we're going to go over to the skillet. And I have 2 things ready for me over here.
Okay, sorry, we lost you. We guess we lost the audio for a second. We're still learning, but you should be back now. Okay, so we've got our tofu mixed up there. You can see that that's looking a whole lot like some scrambled eggs, maybe a little bit. I'm about to add a little bit of soy sauce and mix that in.
So, Jeff, while you're mixing that, can you go over the spices again? I think we might have lost that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What was your spice mix?
You can give it the lid. So the spice mix, in case you missed that, or in case we had no audio at that point, the spice mix was nutritional yeast, cumin, some taco seasoning, garlic powder, and turmeric in order to keep it yellow. All right. So we're gonna let that cook for just a couple of minutes, and while it's doing that, then we're gonna add kale, because Amy and I add kale to a lot of different things. You know, the G&G bomb is greens, and how do I say this? Nobody wants to eat a salad every meal, right? So what you have to do is start to figure out, how do you get the greens into other things, right? You don't want to eat salads every day. So we're going to add some kale in with that mixture. And when we serve this, when all is said and done, we're going to be serving it with potatoes, roasted potatoes, which we've had going in the oven. And Amy's got some other stuff in here cooking for later too. So roasted potatoes and onions, and we're going in the oven. And now let's get back to the tofu. We want to cook the kale in here long enough for it to soften up, right? So raw kale is a little bit chewy. So we just want to give it long enough for the kale to get soft, which is now. Right? And let's get a look at that. That is beautiful, isn't it? So we've got the kale and the tofu in there. And then what we're going to do is actually just serve that on top of the potatoes. Right, and there you have it, our tofu scrambled breakfast. We serve this with a few different salsas. I mean, out of the jar kind of salsas, like, you know, Herdez guacamole salsa and some other tomato salsas. Just a fantastic Sunday morning brunch. I know you guys will love it if you try it. And you can see it was super, super easy. Like this took no time at all to pull together. All right. So what's next?
I'm going to go eat this because this is my favorite thing in the world. And so in this, we have our greens with potatoes, we have red peppers, yellow peppers, onions. I think I put some orange peppers in there, our kale, our tofu, turmeric.
Wait, what does tofu count as?
Tofu is a bean.
It's a bean. So
because it is from the soybean. So it is in our legume.
So that's the first
quadrant.
B&G bomb, right?
That's
beans.
right. So here's an example of a one dish meal that's got you covered.
Super supportive.
Super,
it could be better. We could have added mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love mushrooms. I would eat mushrooms in anything.
Okay.
Not
So
so much anything.
so this is a great one. Great immune supporting breakfast. Oh, and let's talk about breakfast and brunch. It can be super unhealthy. Bacon, sausage, eggs, dump them. Get them out of your diet. They are horrible for you. We know sausage and bacon and all processed meats are class 1 carcinogens. Don't eat them. Hot dogs too. Also eggs full of fat and cholesterol. You know, your tofu is low calorie, low fat, high in protein, high in calcium. Really, really a much better choice. And this is delicious.
It's fantastic.
It really
Yeah.
is.
You know, and there are some foods, right, that as you switch to a plant-based diet, there are some tastes that you have to acquire.
Right, for sure.
But this is just a fantastic
It
dish that
is.
everybody loves.
Yeah, finished off with some salsa
Yeah.
and or a vegan cream sauce. This is awesome.
Okay, so what's next?
Okay.
Wait, I wanted to check it.
No, I'm gonna take it. Okay, so let's go back to our bootables.
All right.
Okay, so similar to what we just did with the one pot meal, one dish, kind of everything combined, we're gonna do some bootables. I'm gonna step over here and grab a couple things. So, okay, my first dish that I made, this is a Zen bootable. It has sesame crusted tofu that has a peanut sauce and avocado, green onions. This is kind of a sesame soy dressing. These are sunflower sprouts, edamame, so we have our legume. I made zucchini noodles instead of rice, just adding some more greens in there, and radishes. So this is called a Zen bowl. And then we're gonna move on to assembling our next one, which is a Southwestern bowl. This is super easy. And what we're gonna do, could you add the shredded lettuce to the bottom of the bowl while I'm grabbing some things? So this is super basic. I'm gonna start with some leafy greens in the bottom, and then cut up a bunch of things to add. I'm gonna throw in some cabbage. When I make salads or bowls, I always want to use different kinds of lettuces. It's just kind of boring to have one taste and one texture as your lettuce. So I'm gonna put a good handful of red cabbage, a handful of green cabbage, and then I have 3 different colored peppers. Oh, that might be a few too many. And then I have some corn. And then I need to grab a spoon. I am going to add my quinoa and black beans. So here we have another pretty delicious looking Buddha bowl, and super healthy. I'm gonna add an avocado half here to it. Now to this, the secret is always in the sauce. So I want to make a little sauce, and it's going to be a creamy cilantro lime. And we're gonna do this as a low fat method. We're gonna use half of a box of silken tofu. This is what's gonna make it taste creamy, like as if it were a dairy-based creamer. I'm gonna put in, this is about a half a bunch of cilantro and a little piece of serrano pepper. And I'm going to squeeze in a lime. I'm gonna do both halves. I think we'll need the liquid. And then a clove of garlic, which I better peel here really quick. So I added this to my little NutriBullet, which is one of my favorite tools. It is great for making small quantities of sauce. If I tried to do this in my blender, it wouldn't be enough quantity and it wouldn't really blend well. So I'm gonna put it over here in my blender for a second, and hopefully it won't be too loud. And I'm going to add a little water to it to get it blending a little better. Can you get that mixing? Can you hear me? Okay, so while that is mixing, then here we have our Southwestern Buddha Bowl. This was super easy, like no time at all. The only thing I cooked was the quinoa and opened a can of black beans. Thank you. And I made the quinoa as I showed you last week with substituting a quarter of the liquid with a salsa. So it has its little added flavor. And then we can serve this just drizzled over the bowl.
That looks awesome. I'm ready to eat.
Okay, so there we have it. And then I have one more bowl.
One more?
That, can you get me another spoon? So this bowl has kind of a fun ingredient, and that is black rice. This is what it looks like. And it is more nutritious than white rice or brown rice. It has more flavor, more antioxidants, and well, I think it's lower in calories and carbs.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting, fun to work with, a new ingredient. Okay, so for this, we are going to assemble it with, I'm going to put some greens in the bottom.
And now for all of these, you could have used rice. I mean, you used black rice here, but you could have used rice, quinoa, instead of lettuce. Pick a grain.
Yeah, you could use any grain.
Right.
Brown rice would have been great in the taco. Brown rice would have been great in the Zen bowl. Absolutely. I just wanted to show the zoodles, which I didn't think we would have enough time to
Actually, zoodle.
to zoodle when, so I just went ahead and did it. But we can pick one
If
out.
you don't have a spiralizer at home,
They're great.
you gotta have one.
Spiralizers are great. So I'm going to add some of these microgreens. They are super nutritious. And then a big scoop of my black rice. And then what else looks good? Some radishes. Oh, I need my pan out of the oven.
Oh,
That's,
I get it.
I knew I was missing something. Okay. Great. So you want to, okay, so here I baked some tofu in a peanut
Ooh,
sauce.
awesome.
It was soy sauce, ginger, garlic, peanut butter, and lime juice. Super simple.
That's it.
And
You just took the pressed tofu just like I
Right.
used earlier.
I cut it in little cubes. And I'm going to pile some of these up. And then even on the same pan, I roasted the sweet potato. So it really did this was really easy to do. So here I have some roasted sweet potato, which
literally did nothing to it. You cut it up and roasted it.
yeah, just a tad of oil and salt and pepper. Yeah, super easy. And then I'm gonna add my avocado half. That sounds good.
So the most important skill set in making these Buddha bowls, I'm starting to get the picture, is cutting, is chopping.
Assembling, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, you got to chop a bunch of
just
stuff
a little
up,
bit of food
and you
styling.
Yeah.
Let's see, how about a few bean sprouts? So I sort of had a theme for each of my bowls, and then I went with the flavors and that would add to that.
Right.
And also thinking a little bit about nutrition and what we can do to add make these super nutritious. So I have some radishes. I was going to call them asparagus.
radish.
Let's see. Oh, some purple cabbage. That was the other thing I wanted in here. From my 2 heads of cabbage I cut
You almost
yesterday.
got too many ingredients for this.
So, oh no, those will go great together. So here we truly have the rainbow. I'm going to add my new nasturtium.
Your what?
Nasturtium. This
Nasturtium.
is an edible flower. This is actually called a bolly bowl. So I thought it'd only be appropriate to make it look gorgeous.
Beautiful. I wonder if we can get
And,
all the bowls and then get a tight shot
Okay.
of all 3 bowls.
Oh, and let me talk about the dressing I have. I gotta go grab it from the refrigerator. I used this is the sauce I was telling you about that I marinated, or I didn't actually even marinated. I just cooked the tofu in this sauce, and this is going to be the dressing.
Oh, it's the dressing
So
too.
can you hand me one of those little bowls?
These little guys?
So I will serve it with my little bowl tucked in here and the dressing in the bowl. So there we have it.
So super easy. Let's take all 3. Get a tight shot of those 3 bowls. Oh, look at that. Okay. Those are beautiful. So we've got our Bali bowl, we've got our Southwestern bowl, Amy, and what'd you call the first one? The Zen bowl, that's right. So we have Bali bowl, our Southwestern bowl, and the Zen bowl. Just beautiful looking. So that's our bowl. So we've done
That's our bowl.
tofu scramble,
Yep.
right? Healthy brunch or breakfast. Oh, you know, what we didn't talk about with the tofu scramble
Yeah.
is prepping it and then using it throughout the week.
Oh, right. Yeah, this was, a great kind of make ahead idea when we're all back to being a little bit more busy and can't sit around and brunch all day. If you have your ingredients, where's our bowl? Let me find our bowl. So if you make this ahead of time, just put your tofu and kale in the container and your potatoes, and have a can of refried beans or black beans or something, and take a corn tortilla and make a little breakfast taco.
Or a big tortilla and a breakfast burrito.
Or that.
Whatever
You could
want.
add some potatoes, the peppers, the kale, the tofu, the extra beans, a little salsa. That would be a great,
Yeah.
really fast, healthy breakfast. You will not miss the bacon or eggs or any of it. Super, super yummy.
Absolutely. So, guys, thanks for joining. Next week, we're going to be back
Next week.
because we're
Because
still in lockdown.
We're still here.
We're going to be here at least as long as we're on lockdown, right? Every Thursday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And next week, we're talking about, or we're going to do some grilling. Too, and we're going to be outside on the grill and grilling up mess of different vegetables, right?
Right. Dessert too. We will
Dessert
do it.
too.
We will do it all on the grill, and
Wait, dessert on the grill.
yeah,
Awesome. Wow. You can do that?
you can do that.
You can do that. All right.
So yeah, we really, just because you're not eating meat, you should never think that you wouldn't be part of some kind of celebration. And we're not just talking about throwing a veggie burger on the grill.
Right.
There's so much more out there. Grilling is a great way to cook vegetables, even fruit.
Well, and we're going to talk about this again next week, but when you grill meat, you get carcinogens called HCAs, heterocyclic amines, but when you grill vegetables, you don't.
That's right.
Right? So
Grilling plants is safe. Grilling meat is worse than the meat already is to begin with.
Right.
So,
So on that note.
on that note, we're gonna call it a wrap. It's not gonna run an hour today, but that is okay because we did what we set out to do.
That's right.
We talked about your immune system. We talked about making this a habit.
Did you want to talk about any spices on the immune system?
Well, turmeric is
Right.
like the one at the top of the list. It's,
And turmeric is an anti-inflammatory, as is ginger. And those are two spices that I always have fresh, ginger root and turmeric root in my fridge. I use them a lot for cooking. I also use a lot of ginger, not ginger powder, I don't use that, but turmeric powder, which is a little easier on your hands. It doesn't stain them. But those are two great inflammatory spices.
I'm glad you
Also,
said anti-inflammatory because that reminded me, right, to talk about the fact that, the way we talked in class number 1 about how everything you eat is either promoting health or promoting disease, right? That there's no such thing as neutral food. Food promotes health, food promotes disease. Your immune system is a subset of that, but the same thing is true of your immune system, right? Some foods damage your immune system or cause an immune response, whereas other foods like these actually give a boost to your immune system and make it function better, right? And so, think about that the next time you eat something and get indigestion, right? Or the next time you eat something and get a headache, right? That's your body telling you that there's inflammation, right? That food caused inflammation. And I don't think a lot of people just don't even connect the two. That inflammation is an immune response. It's your body responding to what you ate as if it was a foreign invader. And if your body is busy dealing with food that you ate, then your immune system is working extra hard for, in my case, it's the gluten. I can't eat gluten because my body thinks that it's a foreign invader, right? So you got to, just be sensitive to those things and remember, right? Everything you eat, pro-health or pro-disease, everything you eat is either supporting your immune system like these foods or triggering.
Do you want to talk about fat, the role fat plays in the immune system? I thought that was kind of interesting.
I don't know, tell me more.
Tell me more. Wait, before we talk about that, if anybody has any questions,
questions.
or last week I challenged you guys all to try some new recipes and look for some non-meat alternatives to become your new favorite recipes. If anybody wants to comment on that.
And while we talk about fat, the producer's going to look at Facebook and see if there are questions.
Well, high-fat foods, a high-fat diet impairs the immune system.
Okay. Because?
Tell me more. We had a video we were going to play about this, and then at the last minute we decided not to. I guess we can still roll it.
I think what the research shows, I'll answer the question. What the research shows is that when you eat foods that are high fat, that fat ends up in your bloodstream, right? Those lipids end up in your blood. That's what lipids are. They're fat. So when we talk about, LDL and HDL, those are different types of fats, right? Cholesterol is a fat. So your blood lipids are directly influenced by how much fat you eat. And your immune cells, your T cells, your A cells, your killer cells, they have difficulty operating in an oil slick, basically, is the way to think about it, right? So your immune cells function best when there's no fat in your bloodstream, but as soon as there's fat in your bloodstream, it actually impairs the function of those immune cells, right? So low fat, right?
Low fat, always low fat. So when I'm looking at a recipe or cooking, I am always using less oil than a recipe calls for, or none. And it's fine, especially in things like dressing.
Start with half the oil that they call for, but even go lower.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even the sauce that I was making for this bowl called for 3 tablespoons. And if you think about that, 3 tablespoons, it had 14 grams of fat in the sesame oil. So that's a lot because that sauce wouldn't go that far.
Right.
Maybe we'd use it to serve 5 bowls.
Well, and
So-
right, and we talked about this before, right? That when you're eating out, and restaurants use a ton of oil, then no restaurants don't spare the oil that they're using,
Right.
right? Every tablespoon of oil has how many calories?
Depending on the oil,
Depending on the
14
oil.
to 17
Grams of fat.
grams of fat
So
per
well,
tablespoon.
well over 100 calories
Right.
per tablespoon. You start adding a tablespoon of fat to every single serving, and we're talking about
Right. It
We're
really
talking about
does
a lot
add
of
up.
calories,
And then a
a lot
little
of oil.
fried food and this and that. Did you want to talk about these potatoes?
oh, I
You
do.
showed them.
So these potatoes, like sometimes we cut up a potato
Yeah.
and do it
Most
the
of the
old-fashioned
time.
way,
Well,
right? And sometimes we use the roasted potatoes out of the bag from Trader Joe's, roasted potatoes with peppers and onions, and you throw
some
them.
spices already mixed in.
Exactly,
think-
spices already mixed in. We throw them on
There's already a little more. There's some oil in that. 'Cause it does
absolutely,
have
and you don't
more
need to
fat.
coat them in oil. You don't need to do any of that. Throw them on a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Put them in the oven less than 30 minutes.
And then we add more peppers to it. So we're adding more of those.
So it can
Right.
shorten the cooking time a little bit. Doesn't take that long to roast
The prep
potatoes.
time.
Definitely shortens the prep time.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. So just a little Trader Joe's
Plug.
no shortcut. We love our Trader Joe's shortcut. And also the same with the kale. We love that kale. It's pretty finely shredded, so we don't have to go back and
Or
cut
go
it
pick out of
more
your garden.
or pick it and wash it. So those are our Trader Joe's saves us on the tofu. They also do have tofu we buy.
Absolutely.
So it's great. All right, I think it's time to go eat. And here's dinner.
There's
We just
dinner.
need one more
Yeah, we're one short.
more bowl for one
We have to
family
decide
member.
who gets what.
All right. So, all right. So join us next week. We will be outside grilling, weather permitting, and well,
Our producer says there's no questions, so hopefully that's right, and that they didn't like go into the ether somewhere and disappear.
I hope not.
But let us know. Comment on Facebook. Let us know how it went. I know we had a few technical difficulties here and there, but that's
We're just trying. That's what we get for trying to be high tech.
with the roaming cameras
Right.
and the screen, the overlays on the screen. It's high
We're
tech.
trying.
High tech stuff. We're doing the best we can here. Thanks for watching
Yeah.
Plant Based 365. See you next week, guys. Thanks for joining.